Ve- Hi, everybody. My name is Trish. This is our new podcast slash video podcast, I guess, called Take a Pain Check. I'm Trish. I'm 20. I'm currently in university and I'm studying finance. Uh, Take a Pain Check is a little thing that Natasha and I decided to start because we really wanted to talk about what we go through on a daily basis and what a lot of other kids with arthritis go through, but they don't really have other youth to talk about it with or other youth to even listen and to share their stories with.
Name is Natasha, like Trish mentioned like three times. Um, I am 18 years old. I am in high school. I don't have any degree or anything like that. So yeah. But yeah, I think we wanted to talk.
Working on it.
Yeah, working on it. I think we wanted to talk about why we started this podcast, what we're going to cover. Trish kind of mentioned that we wanted to create like a platform. So we also want to raise awareness. And if you're watching this, you don't have to have arthritis to watch it, because it's not only arthritis focused. We're both like teens slash young adults, and like we have similar stories. So we just want to share it.
So obviously this is episode 1. This is our beginning together on this journey. Natasha and I are sharing our stories and how we kind of got here before we bring on other guests. But after this weekly, we will have on a guest and we're going to kind of be talking about how arthritis impacts them, what they've done, just their stories, and obviously not just our stories. You don't want to hear the same story every week, but we're going to talk about their stories and even youth that have started organizations in the face of all of this. Like, we kind of created this so we could build a platform not just for ourselves, but for other youth with arthritis and kind of give them something that they could look forward to watching every week, knowing that somebody out there was talking about what they deal with every week.
Yeah, I think we both had those phases where we haven't found people that had arthritis, so we were really looking for
Yeah.
support groups. And basically, we both
Yeah.
met through Cassie and Friends. So Cassie and Friends is in, I guess, like a platform slash organization. And what happens is that they create this base and foundation for kids that have rheumatic diseases. And so that's how Trish and I became tag leaders, where we host events for youth with arthritis or any rheumatic disease. So it could be like autoinflammatory conditions. And so, yeah, Trish and I are the Toronto chapter leaders, and there are a bunch of other chapter leaders in Vancouver, Calgary, all that fun stuff. So yeah, we kind of met through Cassie and Friends, even though we literally live in approximately the same area. Who knew that?
Yeah. Jennifer reached out to me to
Oh wow.
speak at their at the Scotiabank Marathon. That's how I found Cassie and Friends. And finding an organization like that is literally one chance in a million. Like, it's so hard to find an organization that supports you and really talks about what you are going through all the time. And so
Yeah.
this podcast we're making in conjunction with Cassie and Friends because it's such an amazing charity and organization that we really wanted to shine a light on what they're doing as well.
Yeah, it was really hard for me to find Cassie and Friends, like, at
Yeah.
first. I did a lot of digging. Originally, I joined, like, these Facebook groups, and there were, like, moms in there, and I never found anyone that had
Moms
juvenile
are great.
arthritis. And I'm not trying to talk to, like, other mothers because I'm a child. Well, I was a child. So yeah, it literally took a lot of digging, but Cassie and Friends has literally supported us the whole time, and they've always like been here for us.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
actually so many other kids that have juvenile arthritis. So it's really important that
Yeah.
everyone's aware of that, and you are not alone. Like you
Yeah.
are not.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest sell with this podcast is like you're literally not alone, and that's why we're here, and that's why we kind of wanted to talk about what we've been through, what other
Yeah.
kids are going through, and provide a community that your hometown might not be able to give you.
Yeah, I guess we wanted to sort of talk about our stories. So how Trish was like diagnosed.
So I was diagnosed when I was 11 years old. It took them about a year to diagnose me. I kept getting sent home. They were saying it was growing pains, they were saying it was this and that. And obviously when it didn't go away, it wasn't growing pains.
Yeah.
It should have gone away if it was. On the 3rd doctor visit, he finally did a blood test. We finally figured out the ANA factor, the rheumatoid factor. They were kinda crazy, like, my rheumatoid factor was over 200 and a regular
Yeah.
person's is 25.
Oh,
Like, it's nuts. Even now, like, a good rheumatoid factor for me is, like, 75. That's still
yeah.
50 over what it should be, you know? So, when I was first diagnosed, it was horrible, and getting diagnosed at 11, 12, 13 years old, which we were both kind of in the same boat
Yeah.
there, um, is hard because 'cause you're going into middle school, you're going to high school, you have no idea how to deal with this, and your mother can't take care of you. Like, she can't. If it hurts, it hurts. It's not gonna stop hurting because your mom gave you ice. Like,
Yeah.
that's
It's definitely just like
that's the gist of it.
yeah. It's a pain management tool,
Yeah,
icing, heating pads. But
yeah,
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 I got diagnosed when I was 13, and I was
yeah,
I thought I used to play tennis, so I guess both of us sort of played a sport. I used to play tennis, and my
yeah.
fingers and wrists started to swell up, and it was really random. And so like I literally could not hold that tennis racket anymore. It was so bad. And my parents thought it was a sprain. So we just wrapped it
Yeah.
around, thinking that it would go away. It didn't go away for 2 months. So we went to the doctor, got the blood test. Obviously, the rheumatoid factor was high. It was
And
like
there was
200 or 300.
yeah,
And it's so weird
yeah,
because I didn't even know that there was something called the rheumatoid factor, and I didn't know that I was
yeah,
positive and it was high. It was kind of awkward. I'm like, what is this? And so like
yeah,
yeah, I got that blood test and then got referred to a pediatric rheumatologist, which people that don't know, it's a doctor that treats children that have rheumatic diseases.
rheumatic diseases,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we both got referred to the same one. So yeah, we basically got referred to the same pediatric rheumatologist. Well, obviously like Trish is older, so yeah. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, like it was devastating. It was a shock. I was like,
yeah.
what is
It's a
this?
big shock. Like,
Um,
you genuinely go home and you're like, your life is turned upside down, and it's
yeah,
not like, it's not in a good way ever, like, your life is all about this disease now, and it's so hard to get away from that, like, you wake up in the morning, something's hurting, you wanna play a sport at school, something's hurting, like,
yeah,
it's so hard to get away from this disease once you're in the disease, and I feel like that's something that's never talked about, like, kids who have rheumatic diseases or and other diseases too, like, you're so locked in on how you are going to handle the disease that you forget to do everything else.
yeah. And like initially, especially when you're first diagnosed, it's like when I was diagnosed, I could barely walk and I could
Yeah.
not write. And there's so many things I couldn't do. And it's like I've learned to always write my notes for school. I've learned to do my homework in a certain way. And it's
Yeah,
like now you
yeah.
can't do that. And so that was like the most difficult thing, especially school. Did you have like any difficulties in school where you couldn't do specific things?
Yeah, like, when I was first diagnosed, I was diagnosed towards the end of grade 6, so
Okay.
grade 7, grade 8, when I came back to school that year in grade 7, obviously a lot had changed, like, we had just gotten it under control, like, you were doing damage control at first, you're not controlling anything for the
Yeah.
rest of your life, you're literally doing damage control to make sure your joints aren't gonna die, like, that's literally
Yeah,
it.
they're not going to be
So
damaged.
first when I first came back to school, a lot had changed in the fact that my hands weren't writing the same. I actually taught myself to write with both hands in grade
Wow.
7.
Can't relate.
So I'm not like I've kinda lost it because after you start typing and you get computers and stuff, like, you don't write out like, I don't write
Yeah.
my notes ever now,
Yeah.
but I could write my notes fully keeping up with my teacher with my left hand and my right
Yeah.
hand, and it took a long time, I think, for me to tell my parents that I needed help in school. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I think for you, it was, like, 'cause of tennis and stuff, like, your hands were noticeable
Yeah.
and your feet, but for me, it was enough that I could still hide the pain. So
Yeah.
it took 2, 3 years for me to look at my mom and say, "Mom, like, I need help. Like, I can't keep doing it like this."
Yeah.
And that was when, like, all, the legal stuff starts. You have to do your IEPs, you have to do
Yeah.
everything with the school, and it's so hard when you start those things because you don't look like a kid who has a disease, they treat you like you're not a kid who has a disease,
Yeah. 'Cause it's
right? I feel like you
invisible,
went through
right?
that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Like,
yeah,
couldn't do gym class, so people would make fun of me and be like, "Oh, you're so lazy." Or like, I found shoes that would help ease the pain, and people would be like, "Oh, like they look like swimming shoes." Like, excuse me?
yeah,
It was a lot
yeah,
to handle because you would hear all these comments, and because it was so-called invisible or you couldn't see it, it was like, it doesn't exist, so you
yeah,
should be treated the same. And it was hard because we took those
yeah,
science courses, we took those math courses, and it always felt that, okay, you can't write, you can't go into STEM, and you can't go
yeah,
into that field. And it's just like, it's so
yeah.
discouraging because kids, you can do it, you just need the encouragement, right? And you're getting
You
pulled
literally just
down.
need the push. And
Yeah.
even when you and I met, you still weren't ready to be open about your disease.
No, I wasn't. Well, now I'm open because podcast. But yeah, it's hard. It took a lot of convincing, I guess, sort of, or like talking like I know it used to be like, "Oh yeah, like it's okay, like you'll get to it at one point, you'll be okay to talk about it." But it wasn't
Yeah,
something that I was like, "Oh yeah, guys, by the way, I have arthritis," or like I posted things about arthritis. Like, it's only been really recently
yeah,
where I've kind of been like, you have to
yeah,
make the best out of it. You can't cry and be
yeah.
like, this is the worst thing ever. I can't handle it. Like, I don't want to live. I just want to sleep in my bed. But I guess we both sort
Yeah,
of made the best out of what we have. And yes,
for
I
sure.
wish I never had this disease, but I feel
I
like
mean, don't we all?
yeah, we all wish that, but you can always like there are pros, to be honest. Like there
Yeah,
are, like we've seen
yeah.
pros, and yeah, I don't want to be in pain. No one wants to be in pain.
Works for us and what doesn't
Yeah,
work
so
for, yeah, for sure.
what do you use
I
when you're in
am not a
pain?
big pain management person. I
Okay.
am more showing my pain when I was a kid, as you know. So I am more of a person like if some like I have my pain cycle down to the day. Like I know exactly how my pain works. So like
Okay.
if
Yeah.
I feel something, I don't know if you can feel it. Like I know when my hand's gonna start hurting. Like I can feel it start.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I know. Yeah, you're so used to it for a few years. Like I know if I
Yeah,
write for more than like 20 minutes, my wrist will be in pain and then I have a wrist splint.
yeah,
So it's like you've
yeah,
built that sort of thing where you know that like I have this little gel pad that I put before like if I need to type and my wrists are gonna hurt. So we've kind of like went through all these strategies or whatever and like now we know, but I don't have like that morning stiffness and I don't have those night
yeah.
pains that
Neither
a
do
lot of people
I.
do. I don't have the fever, right? So everyone has like different pains, I guess.
Yeah. I think my thing was so like when I was diagnosed, I didn't really notice it, but then
Yeah.
when I started like sleepovers and like whatever,
Oh
like
yeah.
you sleep with your friends, whatever, I used
Hmm.
to like I boil at night. Like my body gets
Oh
so
really?
hot
Okay.
to the point where I've had friends like wake me up and go like, "Are you okay?" And I'm literally like,
Fine.
"Dude, like I'm fine."
Okay.
And like it's funny because like even like we've Googled it before and it's your body's supposed to cool down at night. My body's
Okay.
the complete opposite.
Okay.
I heat up like a furnace. Like it's insane. And for so long I couldn't figure out what it was. But everything that I did deal with ties back to arthritis. Like everything goes back to that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, I don't boil up, but I know like when your joints are swollen, it's supposed to be like heated in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
know that for sure. I don't have like a lot of us have different pain. Like some people have jaw arthritis, elbow, knees,
Yeah.
wrist, ankles, right? So
Yeah.
everyone has different arthritis, and that's kind
Yeah.
of
I
crazy.
actually literally I developed jaw arthritis last year. So I didn't
How does
have
that
it.
work? Like,
I
how
haven't
does
had
it
it.
hurt when you talk
For
or
8
something?
years, nothing. And then last year, you it is the worst thing in the world, like,
Like, how would I
it's
sing
so
if I
hard to
had
deal with.
jaw
You can't
arthritis?
fix it.
How
You can't fix it because how are you gonna put anything, like, all you can do is put ice on it.
Yeah.
You can't put anything else on it, you can't wrap it.
Okay.
Like, I get it right in here, and
Okay.
I can't open my mouth. Like, all I can literally do is drink smoothies
Oh my.
and hope that it goes away quick. Like, that's it. Jaw arthritis is a whole another ball game, man. It was
Yeah.
not fun.
Yeah, I don't have jaw arthritis. So, like, what meds have you been on in general? Or how did your, like,
So I've
medication journey
done
start?
yeah, okay, so I was lucky. I've been pretty lucky with my medications.
Yeah.
I haven't really wavered and kind of had to go off course or, like, anything. So I started off on naproxen and prednisone and
Yeah.
just try damage control kind of thing.
Mhm.
Prednisone was hell on earth, and I will live by that statement because it was not fun. Like, I did not react to it well. I grew chubby cheeks like a chipmunk,
Me too.
and it was not fun. Like, that was, I think, the worst of it. I think when I came back to, like, middle school in grade 7, and that's what I looked like, I genuinely hated myself. And it was hard because it's like, I know I need it, but I
Yeah.
didn't want it.
Yeah.
And then eventually I looked at my doctor and I said, "Man, like, I'm not doing another round of this. Like, find something else. Like, I'm done."
Yeah.
And
For sure.
I went on methotrexate, and I've been on it since, like, for the last 7 years, I guess. I've
Wow.
been on needles, I've been on pills, like, everything, kind of. I enjoy pills better. I hate needles. I know you hate needles too.
I do.
Not fun. I don't know what person likes getting a needle.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't. I hate it. I can't. Like, at first, I used to faint for blood tests, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I'm so used to it. Like, your pain tolerance goes like up. Like, you can handle a lot.
yeah.
I got my wisdom
Yeah.
teeth removed, and I was like, okay, this is not even painful. Like, have you gotten a joint injection? It's way worse than that. Don't even like compare. And I'm like, my pain tolerance has like increase. Like I am on methotrexate as well, but I'm also on like sulfasalazine and Plaquenil. But the methotrexate needles are like it makes my arm sore for like 3 days now. Like I've been on it for a
I'm telling
year.
you, you gotta get it in your legs.
I I don't know.
Legs,
I feel like
legs, legs.
you can also get it in like your stomach. I'm terrified to do that.
Okay,
Um
yeah, I don't have enough fat for that,
yeah,
but
I think that's
legs,
the issue with my arm too. It's like you don't
I'm
have enough.
telling you,
We'll think about it. I got like
you gotta
I
switch
got a
to your thigh.
biologic. I got a biologic in my thigh. It was so painful. Um, there was
Which one?
like was it Humira or like something like that? It's like
I don't
a
know.
bee stings you. It's like it's like a stab. It
Ah,
stings for like
it's
three.
like
It stings for like 3 seconds and then it goes away.
nope,
But
disgusting.
yeah,
Have you seen that
I
TikTok? There's a girl who she's like solved her lupus or something with bee stings. Like, she
yes,
stings
I've
herself
seen
every day,
that.
and it
I
works.
yeah, I would
Nope,
not be able to. Yeah, no.
I
So
don't need to put more pain in my
yeah,
body.
no, thank you. But yeah, I've been on the same prednisone, methotrexate, naproxen. Methotrexate didn't work out first, and then I went on biologics,
Yeah,
infusions, and then I went back to square one, which was methotrexate and other things in that like level.
yeah.
So it's been working for like a year. I also got joint injections, so in more than one joint, in like 10 joints, and that's too much to handle.
Mm, mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
so I've been through all
That's
that.
what they said that to me at first too. They said, "We're gonna put you under and give you joint injections." And I was sitting there and I'm like, "Ma'am, do you know how many joints that is?
Yeah, it's
Like,
a
I
lot,
will
and they're
not
not
be able to
supposed to do
walk the
that.
next day."
They're not
No.
supposed to do unless you're in an extreme case, which I was. Like I was not under remission for at least 3 years, and so I kept jumping on and
Yeah.
off of meds. So they had like it was like you have no choice or your joints will be damaged. So then I had to, right? And then
Yeah.
after that, I
And
found that
usually and usually you go into remission within a year. Like usually
Yeah,
you can get it controlled and damage controlled
mine was like three
within a
years.
year.
3 years, and I
Yeah,
tried
that's
every single
crazy.
like childhood drug. Like you like the basic
Every
NSAIDs,
single cocktail of drugs they could feed
healing
you, they fed you.
NSAIDs, biologics,
Yeah,
joint injections.
definitely. Like I'm in a couple of like Facebook groups and stuff about it, and I always hear the moms go crazy about methotrexate, and I'm like, do you realize that you are not being poked and prodded? It's your kid. Like maybe you should
Yeah.
ask your kid how they feel towards it. Like I was always so lucky, like my parents, yes, like my mom was very severely against biologics. Like she
Same
refused
here.
me to
Same
go on
here.
them.
But it's like when the doctors say that like your joints will be damaged, you're put under that
Yeah.
like fear. You want to do anything to help yourself. And so we always like pushed it. My mom was always just pushing it, saying like, "Oh, let's try other things like homeopathy, Chinese medicine."
Yeah.
So we tried like
Oh my
everything, right?
God.
We've tried
My parents
everything
did that
possible.
too.
Yeah, we tried
Yeah, my
everything
parents did
possible
that
because
too.
we don't want to go through the whole biologics phase. And eventually I had to because it's like nothing's working. So,
Yeah. And it's so hard because when you get to that point where nothing is working, you have no idea what to do. Like you sit there and
yeah,
you're like,
you
either
don't.
my joints are gonna erode
Yeah.
or I have to deal with the pain and I have to go through this situation. And
Yeah.
it kind of gets to that point, right?
Yeah. It's a lot to handle, and I guess like you have support, but it's difficult. So, who did you really
Yeah.
rely on in general if you were like,
I I don't think I relied on anybody.
okay.
So I don't know if this was with you, but like my grandparents live with me and my they were in India when it happened when I was diagnosed. But my parents were so iffy on telling them about it.
Yeah.
And so when they came back and they told them like my house kind of went crazy. And like even now, my grandpa every couple like the last week my grandpa was like washing dishes or something with like really hot water. I was like, "Mom, like why do they use such hot water? Like why?" And my mom's like, "Oh, because it prevents arthritis." And I looked at my grandpa and I was like, "Yeah?" I'm like, "I should have tried that trick 10 years ago." Right then, it's not gonna work now. Like it's so funny and I feel like generationally like it's so hard for you to explain to people that it's like it's not my fault. It's just
Yeah.
genetic. Like
That's why it's called
it woke up in me,
idiopathic. Idiopathic, no
right?
cause, don't know the cause.
Like it woke up in me.
That makes me so
So
upset,
I
like
don't think
idiopathic, upset. Like you don't know the cause. It's so sad.
the
It's like
cause.
I just like pretend that I know what triggered it. I would say like I got strep throat 4 times since grade 5 to grade 8, well grade 7, 4 times a year because we used to
Where
like
did you
share
get strep throat?
we used
Yeah.
to
Okay.
share flutes and people didn't sterilize it properly. So I used to get it, okay? And it was so bad because I got it. And then right when, okay, Trish, stop laughing. Right when
Okay,
I
okay.
stopped getting strep throat, I got arthritis and I've never gotten strep throat after that. Isn't that kind of sus? It's like you get strep throat for
Just
the
a
past
little.
like three
Just a little.
years, and then once you get arthritis, you've never gotten strep throat ever again. And it was strep throat to
Did
the
you
point
keep
where
sharing a flute?
no, we only
Did
shared it
you
for
keep
like a
sharing a
year.
flute?
No, we shared it for a year. Um,
Okay, so that's why you stopped getting strep throat.
no, no, no. Like in my mindset, it's like that. And then there was like some drama, which is like stress. So I feel like it's all stress related for me. That's what I
Yeah,
predict. But
I
everyone has
agree
their
with
own like
you.
story. What do you
I
think like
agree with
triggered?
you. I feel like I absolutely no idea what triggered me, but when I was diagnosed, my mom had just had a baby,
Okay.
and like so my brother had just been born, but 2 years before that, my mom had lost like a baby, but she lost full term. So he was literally like she like it was stillborn. Like she literally gave birth and everything. And I think ever since then, it was it was like a trigger, like it was a stress cause.
Yeah.
Everything stressed me out. And especially like I was
Same
so
here.
protective of my mom, like everything stressed me out. And so
Yeah.
when my brother was born, he was like I think it was literally like he was born in May and I think I was diagnosed right after he was born. So I have no idea like what actually triggered it, but like my doctors always try to tell me like they're like, "Oh, climate change, like this and that." And I'm like,
Climate
"Man,
change.
I've been living in Canada," because they were like, "Oh, you moved from India to Canada, like, that could have triggered it."
Like
I've been living in
environment.
Canada for 4
Environment.
years at that point.
Yeah.
4 years later,
I know. It's like,
4
okay,
years
there are a
later it
bunch of
triggered.
factors. I feel like it's
Uh,
idiopathic, but
I feel
then
like
it's
it's all
like
fake.
environment, genetic, which makes no sense because no one I
Yeah.
know has
Yeah,
arthritis
same, same,
unless like you're
same.
my grandma or like you're, like you're like
Yeah,
it's like you get it because
and
of
you just weren't
age.
diagnosed.
Yeah. And so like that's why I think stress is like the main factor, but I don't know if that's real. Like I'm making up my own story, you're making up this story, which is true. Like it's true. These stories actually happen, but
Yeah.
it's like that's what we think might have triggered it, but is it actually true? That's
Yeah.
the question.
I feel like that's such a big thing, like, is it actually true? Is such a big question we have to deal with, like, I don't know what the truth is, and I will probably never know what the truth
Yeah,
is.
we
Like,
won't.
'cause especially, like, funding for, like, arthritis research and stuff is
Yeah.
low. It's not, like, a crazy amount of funding, like, the mortality rate from juvenile arthritis isn't high, so there's no reason to actually go and discover the cause.
Yeah, and
And they
it makes
figured out
me
ways to control it,
yeah.
right?
I wanna find the root cause, but like that's another story. That's like
Yeah,
me
that's why
like
you're
being
gonna be a
like,
doctor.
yeah.
That's why you're gonna be a doctor.
Even though my teachers told me I couldn't. Haha, I can. My teachers, like anyone that's
Bro,
having like
I don't know.
issues with education and being like discouraged, we got you. Like Trisha's in math. I don't like math, but
Yeah, I do a lot of math on a
uh,
daily basis.
yeah, and like we still
It's
use
rough.
our hands, but we just found ways that we could limit it. Like my
Yep.
friends scribe for me sometimes in like chemistry and stuff like that. I know I won't have them like forever beside me, but like you build that. There even in university, I heard there are like accessibility services and like stuff people that help
Yeah,
you.
for sure. So, I found in uni programs, especially, like, I'm pretty good doing my own notes and doing
Yeah.
everything, like, I've kind of got it down pat, but I did use the accessibility program my 1st year
Okay.
and a little bit of my 2nd, and they are really good, like, people can upload their notes, people can do this, people can do that. I'm a control freak, so I like my own notes, I like to go to class, like, I like to do everything by myself,
Same.
but people do upload their notes for you to look at, they do upload their notes and for you to read and, like, take your own notes from.
Mm.
So, it is I think it has changed as in it is very easy
Yeah.
to get help. The entirety of getting help is on you.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'm yeah.
the process to go and get this help is long and hard, and you have to do it every year. Like,
Yeah.
it's not yes, it's accessible, but it's not very easy to do. And
Yeah.
I didn't wanna do it again, so I didn't do it. And here we
Yeah,
are.
I think the same with me. I feel like I want to do everything by myself, but sometimes you just realize that you can't do it. Like
Yeah.
you can't be sitting there for 5 hours typing unless you can, which is great. I wish I could. But like use your resources as much as you can. I feel like if you
Yeah.
follow some of the other tag leaders, they have like blogs and all of that and I use their tips like you can't there are people out there and like we can provide you with tips too, you know. um but yeah, I think
Yeah.
just reaching
For
out
sure.
and getting what you need, even though you're like, oh, I might not need it, get it because it's there for you. Yes, the process is long and hard, but
Always.
it will help you, right? So that's my
My mom
advice.
always told me that. She's like, "Just do it because you might need it one day." And you know what? Like, my last ever exam of high school was the one time I didn't take the help, and it was the one time I needed it. Like,
Oh my.
it was like, I had an English exam, okay? And it was a 3-hour write your essay exam, not on a computer.
Oh,
And
you
it
have
was
to
by
write it?
hand. I died. I
Yeah.
died and went to heaven, like, it was so bad, like, I could feel it in my wrist. I, like even, like, after 5 minutes of writing, my wrist acts up, like, it goes, like, numb, like, it's hard to
It hurts.
write, like, I can feel it happen. So,
Yeah.
that was genuinely the one time where I was like, "I am going to get help for the rest of my life, regardless of how I feel in this moment,"
Yeah.
because the one time you need something and you don't get it is when you go a little crazy.
Yeah. For sure. I
Yeah,
think,
it was not
like,
fun.
for me, science and math tests, you would ask for, like, double time, which is very helpful, like, take it. If you get double time,
Yeah.
take it. I would sit I know I remember, like, my grade 9 science exam, I did it with this teacher who's literally helped
Sorry,
me helped
sorry.
me a lot. Trish just sneezed. Um, I did it with this
Golly.
teacher. She scribed for me. She had no idea of grade 9, 10 science, but she sat there for 4 hours and scribed my
Yeah.
science exam. So these teachers are really determined, special education for sure. Maybe not your science or math
Yeah.
teacher. She's my special education teacher was so nice. She would sit there and
I
scribe,
feel like it
and she
can
didn't even
go
know math or
ways.
science. No
Natasha was
idea.
teaching her science.
Yeah, but she sat there so determined. Like they're so nice. Well, some of the people
Yeah.
are nice. You just gotta find the nice people.
It can go both ways, like,
Mm.
my special education department at my high school was really bad, like, to the point
Oh,
where my mom couldn't even get an appointment with him.
oh my.
Like, it was
Okay.
bad. So, I that was kind of where I became like, I'm not dealing with this, and I will
Yeah,
just figure out how to do it on my own.
I can't. I could not.
But I I still found teachers, like, my English teacher was amazing, and she was so good at like, in grade 11 and 12, they were both so good at knowing what was going on and
Yeah,
what I needed to succeed, but finding those teachers is hard, and you have to be so transparent about what you're going through and what you're dealing with,
yeah,
and that's really, like you have to learn how to be transparent with your disease, and it's so hard to be transparent. Like, even now, like, in my boyfriend and I have this argument all the time, like, when I'm in pain, I refuse to take help. Like, sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I can't get dressed by myself,
okay.
and, like, it's a fact of life, like, it's something that that you've learned to deal with, but even then, like, I am so determined to do it myself that it becomes a problem, like, and we my mom and I argue about it, she's like, "If you need help, like, just ask.
Yeah,
Someone will help you." And I'm like, "Mother, I'm 20 years old, I don't need someone to feed me.
I
I will
know, but
figure out how to
sometimes
do
you
it
just
myself."
need the help, so take the help,
Yeah,
Trish. They're giving it
yeah.
to you.
I'm
Like, I
bad at
get it.
that. I'm
Like, sometimes you just wanna be
guilty
independent
as
because you're
charged.
like you wanna be independent, and I
Yeah,
get that. But for me, it's like
yeah,
it's situational. Sometimes I will ask for help,
yeah,
um, but sometimes I'll be like, "No, like, I have to write this. I need to write this. I need to do this." My mom's like, "No, chill, like, you don't need to write it. I can write it. Ask your brother, ask your sister." But it's like, "No, I need to write it." So, in no
yeah,
like,
like,
there's some
someone
instances
will
where
help you.
you feel like you gotta do it. But yeah, there are teachers that
Yeah.
are nice
But I
out
feel like
there and teachers that are
yeah,
mean,
I feel like
so
on that note, I also get the opposite as well. Like, I get the niceness and the kindness and all of that. But I also sometimes, like, even in my own house, like, sometimes I feel like people forget that I'm in pain. That
yeah.
it's like, okay, like, I can vacuum, but my hand is gonna hurt and I don't really want to. But
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
gonna do
want
it
to
because you asked me
either.
to and I want to prove that I can do it. Like,
Okay, no,
I feel like my
sometimes I'm kinda just like my dad asked me to vacuum. Like, I actually can't, like, my wrist will hurt. But if you ask me to, like, clean the toilet, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, like, like, no." I
eh,
know, okay, but, like,
no.
chores here and there, it's like, "Oh, I'm lazy," but, like, I can actually do it. So the things that I can do, I do. But, like, if you ask me to vacuum, no, because I
Yeah.
know my hand's gonna hurt and it's not worth it to
Yeah.
vacuum.
I'm like that too, I'm like that too. What I can do, I do. And I do try, like, I do try to be there for my parents, and if they need
Yeah,
something, I do do it. But
same.
it's it's really hard to manage, like, the disease aspect and, like, to be there for everything else as well.
Yeah, but you also realize that, like, not everyone's gonna understand you. Your family does understand you, sort of. 'Cause everyone
Yeah.
your family, friends
Yeah.
do understand you, but, like, not everyone's gonna understand you. So if you have teachers that don't understand you, people, acquaintances, peers, all that, like, you don't need them. And
Yeah.
I feel like we both learned that, like, advocacy is super important,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
100%
Learning how to
advocacy.
advocate, start by advocating for yourself. Like,
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Start by advocating for yourself. It's so hard. As soon as you learn how to advocate for yourself, which is immensely hard to do, you
yeah,
learn how to advocate for other people as well and be a voice that they may not have and
yeah.
they may not be ready to use yet, right? Like when you and I started talking, you weren't ready to advocate.
I was
You were ready to advocate for yourself, but you weren't ready at the point to
yeah,
advocate for other people. But even through just being your friend and learning more about you, it makes you more open to
yeah,
advocating for other people because you know that, okay, I'm so solid in how I feel about my disease, myself, and confident in who I am that I'm ready to be able to advocate for these other people.
yeah. Like, I think you were ready, you were out there, you were posting things about arthritis in general, and I was
Yeah.
scared till for, like, a while, but I feel like when you start talking to people that are confident, at some point, you're like, "Okay, like, I can do this too," and if anything, you have that
Yeah.
other person to support you and also be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I have it too." So I always felt like, yeah, like, there are other people that are out there. It's really hard to find, and we've found that, so this is our platform, and
Yeah.
we kinda wanna grow from there, but yeah.
I was always a super open person,
Okay.
like in high school, like always. Like I've been
Not
like that
me,
since I was a
not
kid.
me.
And I when I was diagnosed, like, at the beginning, I didn't enjoy it, I didn't like it, but it took me a little while to just be like, "Okay, like, this is a part of me now. I have to love it or learn how to live with it."
Yeah,
And I think more often than not, especially now, I do tend to take it, "I have to love it" kind of way, like, that's who I am, like, you learn how to love the disease, and then you learn that the disease has taught you so much that
yeah.
if you didn't have it, this might be something that you wouldn't have done.
Yeah, there's so many things that, like, you wouldn't have approached or done, and those things are,
Yeah,
like, good, like, you get involved with all these groups, and you get involved with these support groups, and then you feel like you wanna help out
yeah,
others, and, like, you wouldn't have gone through that phase, or, like, even want to, like, help
yeah,
that many people without it, so there's
exactly.
always the pros.
Like, I played rugby for 4 like, 6 or 5, 6 years, like, through high school, and then I played a little club
Okay.
after, but I started rugby as a joke. Like, nobody wants to see a 90-pound girl get her butt beat on the field, like,
Yeah,
nobody. And I started it off as a joke with my friend, and I said, "Yeah, let's see if we can survive a season." And rugby runs 2 seasons in high school. Every
okay.
year, it's 2 seasons, so it's literally like you're playing all year round. And I started as a joke, and eventually it became in my head that it became, "Yeah, I have a disease that I probably my doctor would whoop me if she found out I was doing this. I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna be good at it,
Yeah,
and then we're gonna go from there." And it was such a big push even having, like, that obstacle in front of me because I knew that it was an obstacle that people didn't have to deal with, but it was also an obstacle that made me stronger. And, like, I did show up to doctor's appointments covered in mud, and my doctor had to learn how to deal with it, like,
yeah,
you know? And you learn when to stop, like, you learn when
yeah,
enough is
you
enough, like,
do. It takes a
right? Like, I would go
while.
to practice in the morning, and my mom would be like, "Are you okay to go?" And I'm like, "Mom, like, I'm okay now, but tomorrow I won't be, and I'm telling you ahead of
Yeah.
schedule." Like, I know.
And there's so many instances where, like, sometimes you feel bullied, like, I know on prednisone, I felt like I was so, like I was I felt so heavy in general, chubby, and I was like, "I can't handle this." I know for a week, like, I didn't go to school because I could not walk. It was like I felt like everything was
Yeah.
so heavy at first. It's like it's a buildup,
Yeah.
but then you grow from there, and then you realize that, like, looking, like, back, I don't know how, like, I can actually, like, walk now, like, I'm perfectly fine. I don't feel like there's an issue. Like, it's weird though,
Okay.
because it's like You just couldn't. Okay, so yeah.
Usual. Like, I know. Game
Yeah,
time.
game time. Okay.
Play two truths and a lie.
Not
We're gonna
arthritis
do
related. Not arthritis
yeah,
related.
not arthritis related, guys. We're just gonna have fun. So
Yeah.
we'll do 2 rounds this time.
Yeah, 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Okay.
I have been to Europe. I love sports, and I hate going outside of my house.
You've not been to Europe?
I have. I went to Spain.
Okay, cool. Cool.
I think I've
watched-
learned, like, over the pandemic, I don't like being inside of my house. I will go anywhere else and sit on someone else's couch, not on my own.
Okay.
Not on my own couch.
That works. 0-0. Okay, I have a printer in my room. I
Okay.
have 2 siblings and I love sharks.
Okay. See, I have 2 siblings. One is true. I know that. You have a sister and a brother. I don't know. Like, I have a printer in my room, but I know it's also not common. So I'm
That
gonna
is
go
kinda
with
funny.
you don't have a printer in your room.
I do. I'm scared of sharks. Who would love sharks? Well, actually, some people might like sharks, but like, stuff.
Oh, I like the water. I don't know if I like sharks, but I do like the water.
Okay, 0-0.
Okay, it's 0-0. Like, oh my god, whatever. I won this game last time. I'm
0-0.
upset. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
I'm trying to upgrade my style. I drive a Mazda
Bro.
and I don't live close to the water.
Wait, don't you live close to the water? Yeah, you do. Cause like, yeah, you
Maybe.
do. Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, you have to. 'Cause
Maybe.
I'm not gonna say the
Okay.
location, but that location is near this really cool beach that I went to. It's not that cool. So
I do live super close to the water. I live
I
like
knew it. It
it's a
just makes
10-minute
sense.
walk.
Okay.
1-0.
Okay. I went to a Ariana Grande concert. I have a squishmallow in my room, if you know what a squishmallow is.
Those are fun.
Okay, Ariana Grande concert, squishmallow in my room, and I drink water out of a Starbucks cup.
Okay. You don't have a squishmallow in your room.
That's a lie. I never been to an Ariana Grande concert. Yes, I do. I will literally show you. Okay, insert squishmallow right here.
What concert have you been to?
Nick Jonas, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez.
Natasha, are you ready to end us off?
I won! Winner!
Natasha is the winner!
Trisha's the loser. Thank you so much for making your way all the way to the end of the video. You're a real one. And we'll see you next week on Take a Pain Check.